This is Power 97.9 FM.
For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun to the counter. Punks are running wild on the streets, but nobody anywhere seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe. Our food is unfit to eat. Sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Then we have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not good at leaving you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman. I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying on the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
The Prime Minister makes a major announcement, and that is regarding June 1st, reduction in the value-added tax, July 1st, removal from several categories of products, and also June 1st, 12% service charge on all price-control items will be removed. Welcome to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show, and that is NewsSpin on Power 97.9 FM. The broadcast is also on the NewsSpin Facebook page as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. We go until 2 o'clock this afternoon, and of course during the course of the program I will be taking your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. And we are still with the same producer today, so let's see how things will work out. Because my main producer, unfortunately, is not feeling too well. And when he's ill, I am also ill. Let's see how he'll perform during the course of our program. So the Prime Minister, during his press briefing on Monday, had what he considers to be some good news for the consumers of St. Lucia. I'll be hearing from him in just a moment. June 1st, the 6.5% service charge on all price-controlled items will be removed. July the 1st, VAT removal from several categories of products, 12.5%. And I could hear somebody saying in Castries East, maybe in Labrie and VA4 North, strongholds of the St. Lucia Labour Party, that this is a Prime Minister who listens. But I think out of convenience, he chooses when to listen. And just before he calls the general election, because that's the advantage that a prime minister has, he has taken the decision to undertake certain measures that will bring relief to some consumers. But can you recall those same consumers? They have been crying out for a reprieve. This 2.5% so-called health and security levy. Just recently somebody was saying, health and security, just about the worst that we have experienced in St. Lucia as far as healthcare is concerned and the security of the state. But yet still we have a 2.5% health and security levy. And the Prime Minister who listens did not budge on this 2.5%. As a matter of fact, it was scheduled to end. And what he did, he extended it. It reminds me of Colm Imbert over in Trinidad and Tobago, when he increased the price of petrol at the pump in the Twin Island Republic. And he did not protest. I increased it twice. Same response or lack of response. I might just increase it again. And he chuckled. So the Prime Minister, on the heels of a general election, and you will hear from him say, man, they have nothing to do with elections. Everything is timing for our politicians and for the Prime Ministers of St. Lucia and setting the date for a general election. It is creating this mirage, this impression that I'm looking after your interest as the voters, and I'm giving you a timely reminder so that when you go to the polls, you will remember what I did for you just a few months ago. In this case, June 1st, the 6.5% service charge on all price control items removed. Also, voters, remember what I did for you? July the 1st, VAT removed from several categories of products. Remember. So go into the polling station, and when you're casting your ballot, remember what I did for you. In the words of Janet Jackson, what I did for you lately. But also, don't pay attention to my stewardship as far as crime is concerned, which we'll get to in just a moment. But first, let us hear from Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre speaking on certain measures he has taken as far as the service charge and VAT is concerned.
I can assure you that these things are for the development of the people of St. Lucia and of elections. Elections are real. I said the last elections have consequences. We understand that. And as politicians, we all prepare for elections. But these are not for elections. These things are.
All right. So, no audio, and my apologies to you. But let me just stress, because the show must go on. The Prime Minister said, June the 1st, the 6.5% service charge on all price-controlled items will be removed, and July the 1st, VAT removal from several categories of products. And for reiteration's sake, you can recall the dozens, if not hundreds, of calls that we've had on this broadcast and people clamoring for a break. And the Prime Minister has been saying, things not so bad. Things are not perfect, but things are not so bad to the extent that you can't pay a little 2.5%. And also, we just cannot remove or reduce the VAT from 12.5%. We can't reduce it at all. So just stomach this a bit for a couple of years. And then what we suspect will be a general election scheduled for later this year. The Prime Minister takes a particular course of action. I don't know if that particular clip has audio now. If it is ready, it is. Okay, let's try again to see what will happen.
I can assure you that these things are for the development of the people of St. Lucia and elections. Elections are real. I said elections have consequences. We understand that? And as politicians, we all prepare for elections. But these are not elections. These things are for people. From the 1st of June, the service charge on all price control items will be removed, which will lead to an immediate reduction in the cost of these goods. Once the cost does not increase from overseas. Let me go through that again. From the 1st of June, the 6.5% service charge on controlled items will be removed. It will not be charged. So this means that the cost of these controlled items should decrease by 6.5% if there is no increase in costs from the imported country. Here are a list of goods that are price controlled and which the price ought to go down by 6.5%. Baby foods, baby fruit juices, cement, cereals, cornflakes, cornmeal, oats, cheese, cheddar cutter wrapped, powdered chocolate, cocoa, corned beef, wheat flour, garlic, margarine, mackerel, milk, evaporated, edible oil, onions, peas and beans, potatoes. Powdered soap, 400 grams or less, is decontrolled. Rice package, salt biscuits, sardines, etc. Tuna, toilet soap, toothpaste, all the agricultural products that are price controlled. I want to be clear. Those that are price controlled, the 6.5% service charge will be removed. Further, by the 1st of July, the VAT will be removed from several categories of products. We are discussing right now with the Chamber of Commerce, and the 12.5% VAT on several categories of products, mainly foodstuffs, will be removed, which would lead again to an immediate reduction in the cost, in the price to the consumer, once the cost has not increased from overseas.
In some communities saying half a loaf is better than none. Whereas definitely this administration has failed beyond a shadow of a doubt the people of this country is in the area of crime. And the Prime Minister has given the impression, although he's also the National Security Minister, that as far as the safety of the country is concerned, safety of our borders, he bears little to no responsibility. That is solely that of the police. But let's listen to his counterpart out of Trinidad and Tobago just came into office, Kamala Persad Bissessa. And Kamala says that we will do everything possible to reduce crime in our country. We will do. And, she is taking responsibility. I don't even have a difference to do with the fact that she's a woman, motherly instincts, etc. I don't know. Because we have not gotten the impression from the island's prime minister that it is his duty, it is his responsibility to ensure that we have a safer St. Lucia. And irrespective of people attributing the problem that we're experiencing here, as far as the serious crimes are concerned, to gang warfare. But in any event, it does not paint a pretty picture if you have gangs going after gangs, individuals going after individuals. What kind of impression does this send out to the people of the country and also the business community in St. Lucia? Likewise, people who want to operate in this country, operate a business on the island. And the government is boasting about investment after investment, investment after investment. In what environment is all that occurring? All that investment that's taking place? In what environment? And so we'll hear from Cherise John of the St. Lucia Fire Service, I think. But before her, let's listen to the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago speaking on the subject of crime.
2020, we did bring crime down to the lowest in 51 years. And we didn't have many things we have today. Today we have that can help us fight crime. So I'm quite confident to bring crime down. We may not be eradicated completely, but I believe with every shot,
we will not be able to eliminate it. She's being realistic. We will not be able to eliminate crime, but we'll bring it under some level of control. My apologies for the poor technical quality of that insert, but you got a message. Let us hear from Cherise John of the St. Lucia Fire Service.
On Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, the St. Lucia Fire Service responded at 2:50 a.m. to an alleged gunshot wound incident at Marico. On arrival at the scene, an adult male was found lying on the ground. An assessment revealed multiple penetrating wounds about the body. He was treated, then transported to a medical facility for advanced medical care. On Monday, May 19th, 2025, the St. Lucia Fire Service responded at 10:40 p.m. to an alleged gunshot wound incident at Asu Canal, Grand Riviere. On arrival at the scene, an adult male was found in the care of bystanders. On assessment, he presented negative vitals. It was observed that he sustained multiple penetrating wounds about the body. He was immediately transferred into the ambulance where life-saving interventions were administered and then transported to a medical facility for advanced medical care.
Cherise John. Do we need to we'll be back in
KFC. Ignite your senses with KFC.
Too often, customers are counted but not valued. Like mere numbers, statistics, transactions. But at Flow, we're prioritizing you, our valued customers who have been with us through every milestone, every moment. That's why we're putting our money where your loyalty is. Flow customers claim up to $400 in rewards for smartphones, groceries, and more when you add mobile to your current internet plan. Because loyalty isn't a one-way street. At Flow, loyalty flows both ways.
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliotheque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road, V4 at 454-6555.
Lucelec wishes to advise customers and the public that its customer service office at the Carolick building in San Souci is temporarily closed to facilitate urgent maintenance. The Lucelec Rodney Bay and Vieux offices are open to serve customers. Customers who wish to make payments during this closure are encouraged to access the My Account service at myaccount.lucelec.com. Show pays online and walk-in service options or participating financial institutions. Payments made via SurePay and My Account Direct on weekdays from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. will be processed to customer accounts the same day. Payments made after 4 p.m. will be processed the next business day. For account balances, please dial the automated account inquiry service line at 457-4433. Customers can access other Lucelec services by using the virtual service desk at lucelec.com. The management of Lucelec deeply regrets any inconvenience caused by these closures and thanks its valued customers for their patience and understanding.
Looking for amazing deals on tiles? Mark your calendars. Every last Thursday of the month, the Tile Gallery is offering up to 50% off on selected tiles. Whether you are renovating your kitchen, updating your bathroom, or giving your entire home a fresh new look, now is the time to transform your space and save big. Enjoy up to 50% off on selected tiles. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to upgrade your home without breaking the bank. Visit M&C Home Depot and Sunbelt locations for more details. Terms and
In these modern times, the field of medicine has become so advanced that no one has to suffer any longer before they can be seen by a specialist doctor. La Clinique de Corps is proud to be the only healthcare provider in St. Lucia to offer the best and most experienced specialist doctors who are able to first correctly diagnose and then successfully treat health conditions such as chronic back pain, spinal injury, sciatica, numbness, lupus, arthritis, joint pain, facial nerve pain, knee, heel and shoulder pain, cramps and carpal tunnel syndrome. Also available at La Clinique de Corps, complete nerve tests to detect nerve injury or muscle disease. To make it easier for you, La Clinique de Corps is currently offering a special 30% discount for the Christmas season for all specialist consultations. All health insurances are accepted at La Clinique de Corps. So, walk into the new year pain-free with La Clinique de Corps. To book your appointment, please call 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Durant, three, good! Comprehensive sports coverage, in-depth analysis, up-to-date results, and interviews with the Stars athletes and officials, both on and off the field. at the Whistle on Power 97.9 FM.
Vinicius Junior, Bellingham, Real Madrid lead.
Mondays from 8 p.m. with Shannon Laborn. At the Whistle, no games, just sports.
But this is an exceptional catch. Make no mistake about it.
Thank you so much for staying with the broadcast. Let's take your calls right now at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026, 716-2026. Let me turn my attention to Amanda, and let's find out what is happening in the chat room. Good afternoon to you, Amanda.
Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, NewsSpinners. A few comments from earlier in the chat room. Someone says here, if St. Lucian gets fooled by this and vote these people back in office, we completely finished. Another comment reads, election coming and the PM want to play with our head. And NewsSpinner says here, I thought PJP said the inflation experiencing in St. Lucia was imported. He couldn't do anything about it. Poly tricking at its best. I would say deception. Another commentary reads, it's 4 years too late for many families. Someone says here, what the Prime Minister forgot to say is that it will be temporarily removed and will be added after the general election, because the 2.5% was to guarantee a loan and it was not for the health and security levy. Like I said, conveniently misleading you all. Another comment reads, did you all hear the conditions? And NewsSpinner says here, but where was the energy all along? This isn't leadership, it's desperation, Tim. He's not helping the people, he's campaigning in disguise, but it's too late. Our eyes are wide awake. We're wide awake. And when we go to the polls, we're not voting for handouts, we're voting him out. Another comment here reads, but where was all that energy? Okay, I read that already. Someone says there, why was this shopping cart not filled before in consultation with the Chamber of Commerce and the service charge removed? Why is it filled before the election? Another comment reads, so now the Philip J. Pierre SLP administration is giving the world just because elections are near? What an insult. Where was this grand generosity all these years? And someone says, Tim, if the Prime Minister said everything was great with the economy, why is he reducing or removing taxes? Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Some more updates still to come on the broadcast. Let's take a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Sorry, I was just given a joke by my wife there. But Tim, you know, when you go back in history, almost every tax that we have in this country was implemented by a Labour Party. Those that was not implemented by a Labour Party was increased, some of them as much as 200%, by a Labour Party administration. Today, after you've placed 2.5% tax on us, you've also kept fuel prices so high when crude oil per barrel is low, and you want to come now and tell us that you're going to remove. Tim, I am laughing because this is just really a joke. What exactly are these people taking us for? So what you doing there, how is it impacting us in any way when you have a 2.5% on us? When you've kept gas at the price that you've kept it, what difference would what you are removing there would make for us? And please do not, Mr. Prime Minister, do not look at that as an achievement, okay? Because if you implement hardship on people and you decide to give them a relief, it is not an achievement, okay? It is not an achievement. It is barely you looking to cover up for your skin, cover up your own self, knowing that you would want these same people to vote for you tomorrow. So you're now going to come back and put something in a way that they will see that you're doing something. Tim, I give the Labour Party grade 1, 100% in their grade for knowing how to manipulate the people. The Labour Party knows how to play the politics very well. And amazingly, well, sadly, I cannot even say it's only St. Lucia that will work, because we saw Trump tell the people everything he was going to do, and then they still vote for him. And you're expecting better from the Americans. If Americans can put a president like Trump in there, far less St. Lucians put in a prime minister like Philip J.P., who said and did all the things that they did in opposition. Now they cannot hold Ireland nor any guy or any of them responsible for the things they were accusing them of. So they're looking for ways now. The same thing accusations they brought up before last election. They're bringing up the same accusations, thinking that people will still buy into those things. But you all are in a position to deal with Ireland and his cabinet if they did anything wrong. Why, after 4 years, you're still coming back with accusations and not dealing with them when you all have a special prosecutor in place? If St. Lucians don't open their eyes, boy, we are doomed. Have a good day, team.
You too, sir. Thank you so much. 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, Pierre is committing arson only to come to put the fire out as a fireman. And let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Okay, let's see there. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, SLP had 4 years only. Now you want to reduce? Too late for that. Labor needs to go. And some more WhatsApp messages. Tim, all of a sudden now the Prime Minister trying to reduce the 4 years of hardship. Shaking my head. Politics at its best. Some more of your messages. Let me see as many I could go through at this time. Good day. The Prime Minister also told us he can play the politics. Do not ever forget this. In his announcement, he also highlights he cannot control the cost. Very important to note. That clearly is an election gimmick. The 2.5% removed would have been better, and also reduction in the cost of the fuel. 50% off is insignificant. He needs to come better than that. Healthcare, water woes, bad roads, the CIP, GPH, HIA, the housing projects, the Grosedale Highway increased costs, St. Jude's wasted investment in an 80-year-old building, the additional $14.5 million spent on the Judah land purchase, no meds at the health facilities have tightened around our necks, plus what I have forgotten. A WhatsApp message. And let's see if we have another WhatsApp message to go through. Somebody says that, okay, let's take a call via the WhatsApp platform. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, Mr. Timothy Poleon. How are you?
I'm okay, Mr. Chico. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Yes, your humble servant, Peter Chico. Tim, I want to just talk on two issues. First, last night, over the past 2 days, we have had, I think, 1 or 2 murders. What are we hearing from our government, particularly the Minister of National Security? Tim, you know, over the past, for the past 6 or 7 killings, you know, we haven't heard a word from the National Security Minister or the Minister of Crime Prevention. Are they not listening to the news?
And we had about 25 or 26 homicides already for this year.
What have we heard from them? I you know, this thing bothers me. You know, I heard him on a clip talking about border control. Border control and murders go hand in hand. We had the border control. We were setting up border control. This is the very same Prime Minister, Mr. Philip Pierre, who came in, disbanded the dogs, and shelved the border control plan. Why? People are dying. They're still not coming out and condemning or doing anything to put measures in place for the lives of our sons and daughters of St. Lucia. You know? Look, I'm just hearing there again. He planned to remove service charge and increase his shopping cart. I guess that shopping cart is for himself, although he said he doesn't go to the supermarket. But when that very Prime Minister, Philip Pierre, came into office, When the St. Lucian started making a whole set of noise about increasing prices, cost of living, the very same prime minister was the one who said there's nothing he can do. He was the one who implemented, in spite of him saying there's nothing he can do, he implemented that 2.5 levy, right? The price of gas still remains the highest in the region. All of a sudden, a couple of months before election, you come and fool a shopping cart and say prices will go down immediately. Who this man think he's fooling? He's fooling. Team, I am begging all St. Lucians. This has nothing to do with politics. This is about self-preservation, country development. Election day, I want all St. Lucians to come out and vote these fellas hands-on out of this of governance in this country. Because what we see that Prime Minister doing there, that is just election gimmick. Although he said it's not about election. It's not about election. Let me tell you, it's not about election. I am just trying to help the poor people. Only now, Tim, these guys can't fool nobody anymore. And particularly the people in Castries East. I am asking all the people in Castries East to come and beat me 12 not at the election, at the polls for this election. Tim, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peter Chico, by the way, is the United Workers' Party candidate for Castries East, going up against the incumbent and the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Mr. Philip J. Pierre. We have a call again via WhatsApp. Good afternoon, NewsSpin, you are on the air.
Hi, Bob, Jim.
Hi.
I don't know. I don't know if I should be when I call you now to sit with a cup of coffee and just lean back in my chair and just talk, you know. When people are so concerned and the world is getting so hard everywhere, there are not even places to escape to like we used to. We are possibly on the brink of war, possibly not. We have things going on in Africa that are very dangerous. It's hardly any talk about any of those things.
A world in turmoil.
Pardon?
A world in turmoil.
A world in turmoil. And you know, when the world is in turmoil, we're in deep shit. Deep. And we had nothing to do with the turmoil, right?
Not exactly.
We have nothing to do with the turmoil that's shaking everybody up and everybody's interested and things are changing and all kinds of stuff. We just sit there. We don't even want to know our contributions to the turmoil. And by that I mean, for example, have we shown any particular interest in whether or not we have been falsely accused of having a corrupt CBI program? Or have we just dismissed it? What the hell?
Yeah, so most people just show a little interest in it. They have dismissed it.
Exactly. And some people will tell you, oh, they don't understand. Two things wrong with that for me. If you believe they don't understand it, then damn well it's worth your while to make them understand. Right?
Yes, especially
and if in fact,
especially if you have certain information at your disposal.
Exactly. And also, there is the possibility that the people just don't give a damn. They're happy with their crumbs, and that's the end of that, you know. But people have duties, like I said yesterday, and they're supposed to keep up their end of the duty because you know who my parliamentary rep is?
Castries South, Dr. Ernest Hilaire.
Well, I had the pleasure of calling him yesterday to complain about a certain thing in my area, and which is the first time I've ever addressed him as my... I said, by the way, do you know you are my parliamentary rep? I have never seen him. Okay. And I had a laugh about it, and I'm sure everybody's surprised. Rick calls those guys. Rick calls them when he needs to. Now, Tim, you said, based on the government saying, I think last week, this is a government that listens, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard...
And also I have a clip of a certain individual making that same point, but you'll hear from him a little bit later. Go ahead.
Who said that?
A particular individual, unnamed. We'll play that clip in just a moment, a little later.
All right, okay. So, I've heard that before many times, and usually it's from the Labour Party, yeah?
Yes.
Kenya Anthony in particular. It's a government that listens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the question that arises from that is, a government that listens To whom? And to what? That might be worth contemplating for your listeners. But on the other hand, you answered it for them. You said the government chooses when to listen.
Exactly. That's what it does.
But isn't that the correct thing to do? Appropriate thing to do? To choose. I mean, if you listen to every crap.
Not every crap. If people have been complaining about the high cost of living and you said that you can't do anything about it, this is important inflation, why now on the cusp of a general election? And then somebody will say,
Tim. I am saying to you, people, it's like the famous line about I don't stop to listen to every dog that barks. Well, this is a very famous line going back hundreds of years. So there must be some meat in it, something to contemplate, think about it, that has lasted centuries. But there are people who can twist that into the way they want. The point is, none of us listens, and it's not so much the word is listen, It is acting on what we have heard. That's what matters. The matter of just listening. And this is my contention with the line. This is a government that listens. And maybe it answers what you just said there, that there are certain things they don't do anything about. But that's not because they didn't listen and didn't hear it.
So you can listen in effect, Rick, and don't act.
My point precisely.
Yeah.
So the listening is not what matters, it's the acting. But then the acting depends on what you choose to act on. You with me?
Yes.
Good. Now, I hope that's not confusing people, because I am really pissed off that for all these years, and I'm getting near the end of my road, that's just going on there, like Derek said, am I going to die, and this whole thing, we won't see this, I won't see that. A caller, one of your callers said, after quite an interesting little contribution, he said, Labour knows how to manipulate the people. That's based on the price things or whatever.
Yeah.
Ain't that good, Tim?
It's not good. It's not good. It says something about some of the people of St. Lucia. You're going to allow politicians to manipulate you in so brazen a manner, especially when it comes to things that directly affect you, such as the cost of living.
Tim, it's a very interesting psychology that we see things with the same good eyes, but we don't interpret those things in the same way. You're aware of that?
Yeah,
we see the same thing.
We all have a different way of interpreting things.
And a lot of that is due to our state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
If, for example, you had somebody complaining that this government always does this, I'm just paraphrasing, that it ignores the people all the way down to election. So for 3.5 years or so, the people have to eat salt. But come election time, there'll be cheap champagne and there'll be booze and everything else, and the government knows it works. Now, does that tell you something about what we know about ourselves then?
That we're gullible.
And that's my point. We talk about these things and don't realize that we are the ones perpetuating these things. Because if they didn't work, politicians would not keep on doing it, Tim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we are the ones that make it work. So why do we come up criticizing the politicians for doing what works for them? And we are their biggest encouragers, their biggest co-conspirators against ourselves, etc. If we know that come election time, politicians manipulate us like sheep or guide us like sheep, and we've been doing that forever, so that by now everybody knows something about it. Shouldn't we by now have taken a stand and demanded to hear on issues? Shouldn't it be an election matter to hear clear answers, for example, to the CIP matter? Good or bad? A report, a proper verifiable report. No, but I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I am saying duty bound to inform the people about subjects that are important to the people. But the government probably thinks it's not important to the people. That's why you only hear from a couple of opposition voices on it. We create our own monsters, Tim. We kick ourselves in the back. We don't have to tolerate or suffer half the things we suffer from politicians. If only we would find the gonads to say we are not going to support. If only we would find one common cause. Man, you can be the strongest Labour Party supporter, the strongest SLP supporter. But on a common cause that you see is wrong for you, the country, your progeny, kids to come and so on, if that is going to affect us badly, and we can see it is, yet because we belong to the UWP or the Labour Party, we endorse it. What some of us call eating our vomit. We allow ourselves to become vomit addicted. But if that's the kind of people we want to be, then that's the kind of people we're going to be, Tim. And that's what I want to drive home, that everything that's happening to us, most of them, we can control. We can't control the effects of what happens in the States, but we can control how our politicians account to us. We can control how our government ministers serve us, and we can control also how effectively our opposition supports us or fights our cause. All of that is within our control. But we don't do it, Tim. And we call this my favorite show and pollute the air with the obvious. You know, them guys know how to manipulate the people. That's a government that listens, you know. Let me just end by saying, people, you alone can determine your future. You alone can determine it. It's not Pip. It's not Alan Sassy. You have elected them to represent you. But if the representation they give is in effect misrepresentation, and you sit there and do nothing about it, then you deserve it. And if you deserve it, accept it and shut up. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. But naturally, some people are always susceptible to being manipulated. They can't help themselves. They are not sufficiently au fait with the issues. They are very vulnerable because they depend on politicians for handouts. So that politician would have handed out some gifts, some items to them, made a donation, etc., facilitated them in one way or the other. They feel that they are indebted to that politician, and that politician, therefore, will always have his or her way. Because you cannot tell me for too long, it has been so predictable that on the heels of a general election, a government will make all kind of concessions to you, would give all kind of things to you that 2 or 3 years before, it was facing so much difficulty. It was hedging. It just could not find the leverage, you know, to give you that break that you were begging for. When you least expect, on the heels of an election, that is when the government comes and provides you with various forms of concessions, and psychologically, that has an impact on some of our voters. About what's happening in the chat room.
Give me a second, Tim. Let me just access the comments. Okay, someone says here, Prime Minister, please hear my cry because this is the only time you seem to be listening. Bring the fuel price down to at least $13.99, sorry. Another comment reads, he treating elections like a Black Friday sale, but the people already made up their minds. Clearance sale on field leadership, SLP must go. And NewsSpin says here, I guess fuel prices will be reduced when the election date is announced. Another comment reads, the sad thing is that the people who will determine the outcome of this election is not aware of these gimmicks. All they will know and care about is that PJP removed the taxes. Let us hope they are not fooled because this is temporary. This is so vindictive and deceptive. Someone says there only a government who is profiting from crime will disband a successful working K9 unit. Another comment reads, that is true about the flying fish and the sardines. Imagine this year we had the most Thurgasm seaweed and still no cow. And NewsSpinner says there, bear with me, Tim.
But we have a comment there via YouTube. Somebody says, Clark Kent sets the building on fire and returns as Superman to save the day. Carry on. Do you have another comment?
Yes, Tim, just a few. And NewsSpinner says there, it is just a pity that there is an absence of the once upon a time critical thinkers we had in our country. Those of us who will not allow politicians to manipulate or guide us cannot be fooled by those Johnny-come-late policies. In the same breath, I am not too happy with the strategies of the yellow color. There is a need to go back to the drawing board and come up with new strategies. At one time, I was ready to vote with a vengeance, but sad to say that I do not feel the same energy now. Please note, this is my opinion. Someone says there, so he could not do what he's doing now when there was no tariffs, but as tariffs are in place, he can make it happen. Wow, Philip is a magician. Someone says there, he thinks tax cuts can erase the years we could not afford basic goods. That's not relief, that's an insult. And the commentary reads, Tim, permit me to quote the words of the NewsSpin poet, it is us. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, after 4 years of saddling the people of this country with high taxes, ripping off the country after all of that, you added 2.5% on our backs, again telling us it was for health and security. When you know you were lying to the people, bring it on. We waiting. You will be taught a lesson you will never forget. Call the elections. You will know what time it is. And let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Okay, somebody says there is a disturbing echo on the broadcast. The technical people should be aware. Well, if it is that's a situation, we will try to see if we can rectify it. We take a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, Amanda.
Yes, good afternoon to you, caller.
Tim, you know, I normally call your program, and sometimes I just intend to listen. But what really affected me this afternoon, honestly speaking, I will say this in patois. Le soulagement pour les couillons, c'est ça Philippe Vétier qui a fait ce pour prendre la bouse. Chaque année, on peut pas faire rien. 2.5 à l'air aux Suisses, à l'air monde, c'est ici, VAT. 13 ans. Ou pas venir, ou pas dire ou qu'il baisse, ou qu'il tire va la société bagaille product by cette lycée. Cette lycée va dire ça. Je connais voir. Ça fait soulagement pour les couillons. Bon, si j'en sais couillons, ça va soulager les autres. Mais si j'en pas couillons, ça va avoir rien pour eux. Il est pour vous, Philippe J. qui est élection. Pour nous deux bouts, cette lycée deux bouts, pour nous noter. Because one cette lycée qui est le top. Bagay ka fait dans pays, j'en pas parler. Moun ka mort, homicide, domicile, tout bagay ka fait, j'en pas parler. Mais après, j'en pas parler. Dans Yvonne election, c'est mi kon lavel ou point, tu n'as l'argent pour manger, ça manger. Et quand moun vini tout comme mi un morceau vient boire ou sur la caillou pour manger. C'est ça Philippe Dieu qui a fait cette question là. Élection qui vini qui est, c'est qu'il a besoin de soulagement pour couillon. Pour couillon ni cause autre. Ça dépend pour les lait. Qui c'est triché qui a coûté Philippe Dieu qui a fait bêtise ça. C'est triché au version. Bon, on dit à moi, disons ça, ça qui a comprendre langue là, qui comprendre. Et Philippe Dieu-Pierre, pour la petite salle la pêche tabac, allez quand nous mettons en bas, on va faire ce qui est assez. Qui m'a fini une bonne journée, Amanda une bonne journée. Nous allons parler dans le soleil.
Aussi, merci pour couiller. 452-2979, 452-2979. We have them to call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Amanda.
Caller.
Big up yourself, Senior Rigo, but anyway you lay down, sit down, or stand up in the world, sir. And remember, if you can't stand, as long as I have legs, I will stand for you. It's your friendly neighborhood atheist, Tim. Timothy, you know, are you familiar with the Latin phrase, homo homini lupus?
No, I'm not.
Well, in English, it translates to man is wolf to man, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
But that's on the micro level. On the macro level, sorry. On the micro level, Tim, that's what's predominant in our society, you know. Politicians of all stripes pray on the people and the stupidity and the ignorance. That's why St. Lucia is in the terrible state that it is in right now. Because as we can clearly see, the politicians have grown to understand that one, St. Lucians are incredibly credulous team. We are willing to believe almost anything as long as it is presented to us by someone in authority. And this has nothing to do with labor or flambeau. And the second part of our ignorance stems from our lack of skepticism, Tim. No one, well, almost no one seems to question anything they are told, as long as it is said to them by someone in authority. Take me, for instance. I'm nobody. I don't hold no big position. I'm not in any kind of authority. So if I were to present to them some things that's troubling to the country, they're going to look at me and say, "Gaston, you want me to say it?" And then they're going to do what most people, the ad hominem attacks are going to come. Oh, the atheist. Mate is a atheist, Gaston. Mate is a atheist. What, mate? No. So because I'm an atheist, that means I cannot tell you that the plan that Alan Shastney has for St. Lucia, namely View for St. Lucia, is not a concrete plan. Because of my lack of belief in a God, it means I cannot tell you that this is a solid plan. Because of my lack of belief in God, I cannot tell you that health care insurance is a solid plan, because I live in a country where healthcare insurance team is everywhere. And then the Labour Party come and they tell you, oh, we're going to give you universal insurance, universal health insurance. And then tell you, oh, we're going to give it to 80-year-old people now. And then you have Labour people who vote for Labour, people I know and love dearly, Tim. And then I listen to them and I say to myself, my God, these people are so stupid to say, oh, we have universal health insurance now because pregnant women can get free ultrasound. And then people at 80 can go. How do you even understand or know the meaning of the word universal when you say that? They won't even take their time to look at the meaning of the word universal, Tim. Tim, if there are 3 governments in this world that can provide universal health insurance to all its citizens, you have a lot. And I can probably name you the 3 governments in the world that can do that off the top of my head. Places like Qatar, Luxembourg, and probably Sweden. Outside of that, no other country, I think, in this world can afford to pay insurance for every single citizen in the country.
We lost the caller. All right, your contribution ended abruptly, but thank you so much for calling, sir. That's a caller calling all the way from Canada. Let's see if we get some more calls at 452-2979, 452-2979. Let's see if we have another caller line. Hello, and good afternoon to you on the air via WhatsApp. Hello.
Hello, hey, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Hey, greetings. Hope all is well. I've been trying to call for a long time and I finally got a chance.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Amanda. Hope everything's straight. Hope everything's blessed. That's my first time calling in. My heart is pounding. But just bear with me, huh?
Yes, sir.
Bear with me. I realize we are a psychologically oppressed nation. We really, really are. And I just want to make a few points. I wrote down my thoughts so I could get it out properly and I don't jumble it up. But just give me a listening there for a while. So I realize, as a people, we refuse to see the benefits of uniting, right? And even when it's for a resource that is absolutely essential, like water, what we will do? Complain over and over and over. We do the same set of things, expecting a different outcome, a different result. Like something as serious as water, you would expect a people that are not getting water but paying a bill to protest every week at least because they're not getting water. Water is absolutely essential. There's a saying, water is life. If you're not getting water, I think the least you could do is protest. But that's just one thing, and that's just one aspect. Water. I'm moving on. As a people, we are broken and defeated. I think this is by design. And it remains so because the leaders have realized that it is easy to manipulate and control a divided nation where the majority of the masses consume more alcohol than water and tea. Alcohol weakens the mind and the body, and it calcifies the pineal gland, thus making it harder for the people to do the deep, critical, soul-searching that is necessary to finally realize that as a nation, we have so much more potential if we unite. if we just believe in ourselves and stop settling for less. When a people believes that they have no power or control over the nation's destiny, it gives the leaders a false belief they can criticize, bully, and oppress the people without repercussions. Because the people are distracted by all the butter and other activities that are centered around alcohol. Some call it the devil's juice, others call it the spirit of St. Lucia. Isn't that crazy? Our spirit is rum. But anyway, the reality is it literally dumbs down the masses. A poor human resource will always lead to a failing nation. To be honest, we are a failing nation. I won't go into depth, but I leave it up on the people, up to the listeners, to look around and see in what ways we are failing as a nation and why our human resource is lacking. Before I leave, I want to invite your listeners to dwell on these issues for a little bit and maybe see how they relate. Also remembering that what we tolerate perpetuates. Okay, so hear that, excessive alcohol consumption, bullying, women constantly under attack and getting assaulted, police feeling neglected and disrespected by the nation's leaders, corruption in the force, rising crime and violence, myriad of events and distractions, leaders and politicians doing as they please without any feelings of responsibility and accountability to the people. I just really want us to ruminate on these points for a bit and realize how they all correlate and they are all connected. But yeah, I give thanks for the opportunity. That's the first time I'm calling in. That is no assist, by the way. Okay, and thank you for always sharing my videos every now and then, man. I give thanks for the support. Big up yourself right through.
All right. Thank you so much for calling.
Yes,
All right. Very joyful there that he made it on in NewsSpin today. I think he said that he's been trying to call the program. But what resonates in terms of your contribution, caller, is when you said, for example, that we have people complaining for decades now about the lack of potable water, which is water that's treated and it comes through our taps, produced by Wasco for a long time now. And the last time somebody protested because of being shortchanged as far as the availability of that precious resource is concerned would have been close to 20 years. I could never forget this female who protested outside the offices of the Water and Sewage Company at Lance Road. And she was arrested in the process. Not even a relative, not even any member of her household participated in that kind of action to demonstrate dissatisfaction with the quality of service that was being provided by the Water and Sewage Company about 20 years ago. You think the service has improved? Up to now, in 2025, people are still calling NewsSpin to complain, shockingly, of being without water for weeks, sometimes 3 weeks, sometimes a month. People are telling you they have not received water. And people believe that if they're supporting a particular party, they ought not to protest. They're embarrassing the In Jamaica just recently, the holder of a licensed firearm, he physically assaulted a nurse. The nurses took to the streets over in Jamaica. Part of that demonstration would have been the managers of the various health institutions and also the country's health minister participated in that protest action as well. What will happen in St. Lucia, what has been happening, is that over the next several years, if things continue as they are, we will be reporting, in the case of the media, the same number of homicides or even a more significant number of homicides. There will be issues relating to the bad behavior of politicians. At the end of a tenure, or close to the end of a tenure of a political party in office, then they'll try to bring some kind of relief to people who are complaining about the high cost of living. And we'll continue to have a serious crime problem on our hands, among other issues. It will just be more of the same. We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
What's up?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Amanda, how are you?
Good afternoon, caller. I'm fine, thank you.
Somehow that last caller reminded me of the poet.
Yes.
He said he's calling for the first time, but somehow the voice, the tone reminded me of the poet who have been missing in action for a while. But that's not the reason for calling. Have we had any homicides recently?
Yes, we had a homicide, I think, yesterday.
You know what area?
This homicide would have occurred over in Asuka now, in Grand Riviere.
Oh, I want to get me. Yeah, maybe Rick said it some time ago, and I will endorse that. Bob Marley's song, Forget Your Sorrows and Dance, is very much alive in St. Lucia today. Right? We're moving from jazz into carnival, from carnival into emancipation, and from emancipation into Creole Heritage Month, from Creole Heritage Month into Christmas.
And maybe just before Christmas. Maybe just before Christmas we might have general election.
Yeah, maybe. But what I'm saying is that the party goes on. So it's one big disco party thing. That's my contribution.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. We continue to take your calls, 452-2979, WhatsApp call messages, and also WhatsApp calls at 716-2026. Once again, 716-2026. And let me see if I have any of your WhatsApp messages to go through at this time. But let's take a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon, you're on the air. Hello?
After you, Mr.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Amanda, next side.
Good afternoon, caller.
Amanda, next side. Yeah, Tim, let's take for example, Tim, the Prime Minister, the man in his seat for about 20 years. Can you enter the next side there for 20 years?
More than that, close to 30 years.
Give thanks for that.
Yeah.
What is the improvement in it?
All right, the device that you are listening to, please turn it down, please. Turn down the volume, because it's causing an echo. This time around, it's the echo is your fault. Yes, go ahead, caller.
Is it better there?
It's better.
All right. 30, 25 years, Tim. What is the improvement in these two communities? Nothing. Nothing for the community members actually to talk about, the public to talk about. Nothing for the public to talk about. This man in Marshall, the only biggest improvement he have done so far is the roads, is fixed roads. The same thing he said people not eat him. That's all he have done for Marshall is the roads, and he's attacking the fields. Right? Opening of jazz was on Marshall Field. I want him to answer how many children or how many young people from Marshall that actually went to the opening of jazz off the money they work off their pocket and pay a ticket to go jazz. They couldn't afford that. But yet still you're telling me Gaza Lucian still giving them an next chance again? And you're telling me you go cry for Lucians? You don't see the kind of people we are? Huh? Tim, you never see the neighborhood. One lady coming out in the neighborhood. She passing all houses. She not greeting nobody and she going and sit in a church?
Yeah, it happens.
My goodness, Tim. So what you expect? What you expect? We ain't gonna see no difference, Tim, because we're going to take them out. We're going to still put them back there again. Because to me, that 5 years thing not enough. Give a man at least 10 years to see what he could do, because 5 years not enough. It's best sometimes when I check it, Tim, it's best we just go like them countries that have fellas running the country for a while. Because Lucians don't know what they want, Tim. When you tell me you settling for an 80-year-old getting medication, free medication over a baby, bro, you're not about yourself, bro. You settling for an 80-year-old, but my grandmother is going, my child is coming. You're telling me you putting my grandmother over my little child that coming, and you're telling me you for the people, you for the youth? But what part of the youth are you for? Is it just the finger on the left hand or the right one?
But do you know the 80-year-olds are still saying that they are not getting the treatment free? So even the 80-year-olds are complaining.
It is not free, Tim, because they say they haven't not implemented whatever thing they don't do. Tim, boy, illusions hour, we papa hour. Life goes on, Tim. Life goes on. You enjoy the rest, Tim.
You too, sir. Thank you so much for calling.
You're welcome.
Chuckling out of frustration. We have another call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin on the air.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller. Good afternoon.
Yeah. I want to make a contribution today because I just find, as for me, there is magic. Okay? Too long, politicians playing the same systematic strategy. I bring down prices for you, you will vote for me. I give you a couple sheet of plywood, you vote for me. What is all of this rhetoric? What is all of this nonsense? It's time for us St. Lucians to make politicians know you can't play in our brain because it's not kakalabu that's in our brain. The people all the time we're suffering. They cannot give us the decrease. Instead, they put more taxes. And then they turn around because they know they want to call the elections, protect the victory. They run now and tell us they can bring it down. Now Mr. Trump put in tariff. Everybody balling. Bigger countries than St. Lucia balling. They don't know what to do. Now you're telling us under all this pressure you're getting already from America and all the stress that's in the country, you can bring down things. They didn't read the scripture at all. Jesus said to Peter, Peter, who do the people collect taxes from? Peter didn't answer. Jesus said, Peter, they collect taxes from strangers and foreigners, not the sons and daughters of the country. But because you already tell them you paying taxes, go and fish. Go and use your skill. Go and fish. When you finish fish, you'll get the gold in the fish mold. Pay for you and pay for us. Right? For so many years, the same nonsense, tax. They come, they put more. And if you see we were going for 10 years straight term for them to be in government, they wouldn't give us that kind of thing. They pull up, they bring in there. They're going to decrease taxes. They're going to increase it. So I want the Prime Minister, Mr. Philippe Jepier, and all his cohorts to know St. Lucians are not foolish as they think. I don't know what magic or what vice they're using, that when the people stand on the election lines on election day, they just go in there and they just put in the tick for SLP. SLP is not the SLP it used to be long ago under Kenny Anthony. It's a petty that there right now. And this have to stop. I am saying to all St. Lucians, put all your head level. Because if you see this government that then now come back there again, we finish. Okay? St. Lucia will be finished. You cry now, the 8-year-old getting help and they're not getting it. That's just word of mouth. You don't see how much it takes joy reading a piece of thing on a paper? The Prime Minister reading his points and his electoral strategies he's going to use for the next 3 years. That means he expect all you to put him back there. And he read it with so much joy, taste. The words are tasty in his mouth because we believe lies. But the truth is that we don't get what they say. The promises they make, we are getting that. So I want them to know, this nonsense $500 you're getting for 1 day to do step on the road. Or you better don't go and put that government there again, because this machine. Okay? You give them a $500 just to cut road in 1 day. And they go and vote for the government. You give them some plywood. 1 day, look at CIP money. Where is CIP money? Where are the houses they're supposed to build for St. Lucian, for St. Lucians? They build free liquor jupa. If them people lie down in it, they're 2 feet outside, rain wet in it. No toilet. They build a jupa for them and call that CIP money. That's all the billion CIP bring in. It look like they will sell us. Our seaport, our airport, foreigners controlling it, our exit, and our entry. Foreigners controlling it. St. Lucians, are we blind? Open all your eyes. You cannot have foreigners controlling your movement in and out of your country. We need this government out. St. Lucians, we need them out. Because my prayer to God is that they don't come back there. And those that think they're going to come back there and do the same nonsense, Mr. Shasney and all your other party people, think twice so. Or you're not coming back there and do nonsense, because we will protest. And we don't want that government there again. Period. Mr. Timothy, thank you very much for your time and giving me an audience.
Thank you so much for calling, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Another call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. You are on the air.
You know, it's true, what the lady said. I support that 105%.
Okay, caller. Thank you so much. We have Bermuda on the line. Good afternoon to you via WhatsApp.
3 times Journalist of the Year.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Charles Paul, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you,
Amanda,
caller.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon, caller.
I want to start off with I don't know who. Richard Elquapo Frederick, the henchman of Philip Pierre. I told him when he messed up with the tavern housing area that he gone back to eat his vomit. And ever since then, he's making that his what should I say? Can't find the word for that. Anyhow, he's been continuing eating his vomit all the time. Now, Frederick, I don't mind you eating your vomit, you know. But you cost the solution people millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars with your nonsense, with your bullshit. Okay? You cost the solutions millions and millions of dollars. And you're talking all nonsense. Who do you think you are, man? You just cost us $15 more million there in the boulevard. Huh? Because you only got your stuff right. Everywhere you go, you're just throwing in money. Like St. Lucia is a Kuwait or what it is. Millions and millions going on the road. But that's still there. You find immunity. Why did you do that? If you didn't do nothing wrong, why did you find immunity? But that's still there. That CIB still hanging over your head. That $8 billion, we want our money. That $8 billion. That could put us to the top, almost to the top. Build 30,000 houses, as the great man said, Sir Alan Michael Shasta. Clear our national debt. And take care of every solution healthcare for the next 50 years. Oh, that's there. And the rest of our goods guy, we want our money. Coming down now to Philip J. Pierre, the Prime Minister. Tim, what does Philip J. Pierre, Saddam Hussein, and Hitler have in common?
Caller, I know of no kind of comparison among the three.
No comparison.
I know of none.
I can tell you the comparison. I can tell you the comparison. Hitler, the gas chamber. Saddam Hussein, genocide. Philip J. Pierre, during COVID, he said he's going to have the biggest match in history of St. Lucia. During COVID, when people were supposed to stay 6 feet far from one another, he said he's going to have a protest march, the biggest in St. Lucia history. Up until then, the great man Sir Alan Michael Shasta had the COVID under control, doing the best in the world. As a matter of fact, I think he only had about 3 deaths. But after that match, the numbers grew to about 500, speaking of correction. You know who I blame for those deaths, Tim? You know who I blame for their deaths? Philip J. Pierre, the SLP. Not the government, the SLP at the time. They were SLP. I blame them for that. If one of my family, my daughter was in there and died. You know what I would do to him? You know what I would do? I will take them to the ICC. No, not International Cricket Council, you know. Not the International Cricket Council. I will take them to the National Criminal Court. Because as far as they're concerned, that's a genocide. He knew that the people are supposed to stay 6 feet ahead, away from one another. But he demanded he's going to have a march and bullshit and keeping noise. And my daughter will die, and I don't take you to the ICC. I don't take you to the International Criminal Court. And when he got in now, how would he tell the people? We're not employing you all until you wear the masks. He was telling people there was no COVID, and he knew there was COVID. You understand what I'm saying to you? Last but not least, Rick Wayne. Rick Wayne, yes, I hope you're listening to me. Nobody want to hear nonsense every day. You come and President Kenny Anthony. Kenyan Anthony until we met Philip JP as a leader, is the worst leader in the history of the Caribbean. What the hell wrong with you, Rick Rain? Talking about Kenny was this, Kenny was that. You just can't care if you went to Kenny house. You know the atrocities that Kenny done? He done just as many atrocities like Hitler, those guys. And you coming every day talking about Kenny like he's Santa Claus. What the hell wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you? What good has Kenny done but build a prison and police stations and Darren Sammy Grong? Bullshit by people for years.
Okay,
for
Bermuda.
Years.
Okay, Bermuda.
And every day you come talk about Kenny.
Thank you so much. You've made your point. Appreciate. Have yourself an enjoyable afternoon, sir. All right, let's see if we get some more calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Still to come, we'll have an update, the final update from Amanda regarding comments in the chat room. Let me see if I could go through a WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, the elderly people in the Prime Minister's constituency voting for him because they're getting a bread, a cup of tea, and a $50 voucher once a year every Christmas. And the young people making their Christmas money via STEP. So these people, every Christmas, they're eating and stay full until Christmas again. And we are going through yet another WhatsApp message. Somebody says that, smart lady, by the time someone reaches 65, most can't and don't enjoy their pension. My lady, you make me cry. I am waiting. I'm housing, please. Okay, don't understand that last point. But let's see if we could go through another WhatsApp message. We're just going through as many as possible. Somebody says there, the shooting in Marigo was indeed fatal. Okay, we have not received a confirmation of this. And let's see if we could go through some more messages. Somebody says there, Wasco is so wicked. They have categorized my dwelling home as commercial. So I'm paying a bill as a commercial user. A house with 3 occupants. I don't run a business at home. I have about 4 tanks collecting rainwater. We discussed the matter with Wasco. They said they will investigate since 2024, but to no avail. Let's take a call on the landline. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, sir. Tim, I heard you and Rick say the world, we have a problem in the world. Seriously, well, the world is a problem today. Tim, the world is not a problem, you know. The people, the leaders in the world are wicked, you know, Tim. The leaders, all the leaders in those big countries, Tim, are so wicked. They don't have no feelings, Tim. They send our young men to die every day, fight war against each other. Children starving. There's no food, there's no water. You look at Africa today, you know, while some people are, you know, I saw a golden toilet was stolen somewhere in the UK. I don't know if you saw that, Tim.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it was on BBC last night. And if you see that golden toilet flushing away, Tim, and I'm saying to myself, Lord, what this world is coming to, Tim. This is not about the little man. We are happy in this Caribbean islands, you know, Tim. We are happy, you know. Based on what I see of our young people out of the world, Tim, and the outside world, Tim, is good. Those children, I watch a mother saying she cannot even sleep at night because she don't know what the next bomb going to come down like. You know, she have to be running it for children and all kind of things. So, Tim, it's a wicked world, you know, Tim. Wicked world, you know, Tim. And I feel sorry for our children and our elderly who are trying to survive in this world, you know. And these people are just taking the comfort away from these people, you know. And, Tim, it's not looking good. And I think the leaders and them need to go somewhere and get together and try to bring peace among our children, among our young men, among our young women, you know, because if we have to keep on so for another year, Tim, there will be a world war. There will be a world war. Trump better behave himself, Tim. Tim, one other thing I wanted to mention, Tim, the bank. There is the one bank, Tim, to open an account in this country, Tim, it is so much problem. You have so much documents that you have to bring, even though you have a legitimate business, Tim. You know, Tim, I'm being a member of a bank, you know, for more than More than 50 years. You understand, Tim? I run a legitimate business. I try my best to open an account, a business account with that bank. This is one of our own bank, you know. Tim, they had me to get my mother, my dead mother, to sign a document. She did that. She came and she told the bank, I'm running a legitimate business, I'm okay. I never sell cocaine, I never sell marijuana, I never sell things under the counter. I did everything. I work hard for St. Lucia already in this place. Travel in and out of the United Kingdom. Tim, I build my homes with that same bank. Tim, to get an account open at that bank, Tim, because I run my business with different companies. I run an employment agency, so I have checks coming in, so I have to pay my staff and so on. Today, the companies have to be paying me on my name because of that bank. It's giving you so much difficulty, and I know they have a lot of people going through that very same problem. You know? And I am asking the bank, if they call themselves a national industry, I wouldn't call it a national because I don't want people to say I mentioned about it. A national industry, you know, and they're in the interest of the people of this country, Tim. They're supposed to be working to make sure that the people in this country have been taken care of, you know, and putting things in place so that we could operate on a better scale, a smooth scale where we could, legitimate business could operate, Tim. Tim, these fellas are asking you, they're asking you for your life, to surrender your life to them before they could open an account for you, Tim. And that bank need to work on the behavior. Even when you're making calls to them, they take a while to answer the calls. You send messages to them, Tim. They take a while to respond. Sometimes you have to walk into the bank to get the reply. Tim, it's not good in that bank at all. It's not good at all. Have a good day, Tim.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Still to come, we have a press release coming from the National Taxi Union addresses what it describes as distasteful untruths by former president. This is the most monitored talk show in the world.
You know that feeling when you have an uncontrollable desire for fried chicken? KFC. A substance that stimulates your senses to identify the aroma of a secret recipe or an extra crispy crunch from any distance. It's invisible to the naked eye, but you can feel it traveling throughout your body, taking control. All so you can enjoy a juicy bite of KFC. Ignite your senses with KFC.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbutai at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Lucelec customers are advised that from Monday the 19th of May until the 26th of May, an island-wide meter replacement campaign will be undertaken. This is at no additional cost to customers. This is part of Lucelec's ongoing commitment to providing safe, reliable, and efficient service. The new meters will ensure continued accuracy in customer usage readings and ensure that services continue to meet the highest standards. Customers with meters scheduled for replacement will receive a Lucelec notice at least 48 hours before. On the day of the replacement, a uniformed Lucelec technician with proper identification will undertake the work, which is generally estimated to take less than 30 minutes. To ensure a smooth process, customers are encouraged to ensure that there is a clear and unobstructed path to their meter. All questions or queries concerning this meter change should be addressed to the Lucelec customer service team at 457-4440 or the metering section at 457-4607. Lucelec thanks their valued customers for their cooperation, understanding, and support throughout the process.
Looking for amazing deals on tiles? Mark your calendars. Every last Thursday of the month, the Tile Gallery is offering up to 50% off on selected tiles. Whether you are renovating your kitchen, updating your bathroom, or giving your entire home a fresh new look, Now is the time to transform your space and save big. Enjoy up to 50% off on selected tiles. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to upgrade your home without breaking the bank. Visit M&C Home Depot and Sunbelt locations for more details. Terms and
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay.
You're on your way.
Flow is keeping you connected.
In these modern times, the field of medicine has become so advanced that no one has to suffer any longer before they can be seen by a specialist doctor. La Clinique de Corps is proud to be the only healthcare provider in St. Lucia to offer the best and most experienced specialist doctors who are able to first correctly diagnose and then successfully treat health conditions such as chronic back pain, spinal injury, sciatica, numbness, lupus, arthritis, joint pain, facial nerve pain, knee, heel and shoulder pain, cramps and carpal tunnel syndrome. Also available at La Clinique de Corps, complete nerve tests to detect nerve injury or muscle disease. To make it easier for you, La Clinique de Corps is currently offering a special 30% discount for the Christmas season for all specialist consultations. All health insurances are accepted at La Clinique de Corps. So, walk into the new year pain-free with La Clinique de Corps. To book your appointment, please call 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950.
Don't tell me that tire flat again. I just changed that tire.
Wait, what? You just changed that tire?
Well, I bought a used one because you didn't give me enough money.
Oh, I see. Well, you know what? Chivi's Tire Shop only carry brand new quality tires at affordable prices with free installation.
Hey, it seems you're working at Chivi's Tire Shop. How you know all that?
Come on, Brenda. The tire shop down the road from our home in the American Drywall Building.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Well, you know what, Patrick? Let's go there right now. Take your wallet. Let's go.
Chivi's Tire Shop, located at the American Drywall Building, Vic Butay. Call or WhatsApp 584-5986. Chivi's Tire Shop. Pay less, drive more.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Hey St. Lucians, this is the moment that you have been waiting for. St. Lucia, St. Lucian Massive, come out and celebrate with us. Learn about your libido, your energy, learn about your gut microbiome and why it is your center of health. Are you tired of taking pills for everything? Boy, I'm tired of them something that don't work. Come out and have fun with some of the top health experts and elite performer, Mr. McCasey and Nika, the chemist himself, Dr. St. Rose and other entrepreneurs. Taste all of the products. Free admission, free prizes, and light refreshments will be available. Mark your calendars, June 3rd, 2025. Registration starts at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. The main event is at 6:30 p.m. at the Financial Center, Point Seraphine. Listen, miss it and blame yourself. You gotta have guts in this world. Message Vanessa Cox on WhatsApp at 347-204-7670 to RSVP and for your free gift. Boom.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. The one thing I can tell you about the Philippine administration is that this administration listens. He leads a government that listens. I don't mean I agree with him as I will demonstrate in a few minutes. But listen. It takes humility to listen. Painful as it may be sometimes. I know. I have been there. From this budget, I would take two examples, one of which has already attracted some comment in the press. First is the issue of the life of passports. I remember when it was announced that passports will have to be renewed after 5 years. A hue and cry ensued. The popular comment by citizens was, quote, make it make sense. Oh, by the way, I want some help. I love that phrase, make it make sense. The problem I have is that I have often wondered whether St. Lucians have a copyright in that phrase. Who invented that phrase? I love it. Make it make sense. And there's no phrase that is more powerful than that when it is used, particularly against politicians. Make it make sense. And every time I heard the phrase make it make sense, I think of those young ladies with all the passion who speak quite often and they just simply jump up and say, make it make sense. I love to hear the sound and rhythm of those words. But I want somebody to help to advise me whether these solutions have a copyright. Back then, I could not understand the decision. And I saw Minister of Finance have heard constant noises from his cabinet colleagues. We have to extend the life of passport 10 years. Today, I applaud the decision to increase the life of a passport to 10 years without further charge. The fact is, the government heard our citizens, heard the complaints, and listened. This is what responsive governance is about. This is what it is about. You listen.
Former Prime Minister of St. Lucia, MP for VA4 South since 1997, Dr. Kenny Anthony. And he says this is a government which listens. Now you listen. We have a press release coming from the National Taxi Union addresses distasteful untruths by former president dated Tuesday, May the 20th, 2025. Once again, it's a press release. In keeping with the fundamental principles of truth, accountability, and transparency, the National Taxi Union, NTU, wishes to categorically dismiss a barrage of unfounded allegations and blatant lies being peddled publicly by former NTU President Lucien Joseph. The NTU has been made aware that Mr. Joseph, for a second time as a guest on a radio talk show, called into disrepute the legality of the current NTU board headed by President Mr. Terry Valsin. The board was duly elected at the annual general meeting and conference of delegates on Monday, March the 3rd of 2025. This followed months of hard work by an interim executive after the NTU was left dormant and abandoned with no banking records by the former President Lucien Joseph. In a letter dated September 2nd, 2022 and sent to the Ministry of Tourism, all the affiliates of the NTU signed and submitted a letter expressing no confidence and withdrew support for Mr. Joseph as head of the NTU. He subsequently stepped down. On May 20th, 2025, Mr. Joseph claimed the NTU president, Valsin, and PRO, David Christopher, wasted taxpayers' funds and resources of taxi drivers to attend a 2025 Sea Trade Conference held recently in Miami, Florida. The NTU wishes to clarify that the trip was fully approved and funded by the Ministry of Tourism and aligns with the strategic development goals for the taxi sector. Unlike the past president, the current NTU board members were able to secure new business and investment opportunities for St. Lucian taxi drivers. These have since been reported to the general membership and are now in progress. The NTU urges talk show hosts, journalists, and media managers to desist from entertaining and broadcasting unverified information and blatant lies by Mr. Joseph on matters relating to the taxi sector, and in particular the NTU. Mr. Joseph's statements are not only libelous, but also harmful to the business of taxi operators. The NTU is currently consulting its lawyers on the matter. On May 20th, 2025, a press release and that was penned by the National Taxi Union addresses what it describes as distasteful untruths by former president. We'll take one final call at 452-2979. Once again, 452-2979, or WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. I don't know if Amanda has an update or if she has taken leave from her task.
A few comments from Leah Tim and NewsSpin says here, my thing is only when we benefit we turn a blind eye. When children come home with things their parents did not buy and they share with the parents, these parents will not say anything until these children gets killed or arrested for robberies. And that is the time the same parents would cry out the same old song, he was a good boy. He was not doing anybody anything wrong. I want justice. Do not misunderstand my post, please. Another comment here reads, Some are not manipulated but are corruption enablers for half a loaf. A NewsSpinner says that this short-term play only deepens the long-term damage to the country's democracy. Another comment reads, PJP, if you're smart, you will do like Rowley and run before your tail catches on fire. Someone says, team, are you aware that under the previous government, most of these items were already zero-rated? Let us see which other items will be added to the shopping cart. They're only removing the 6% service charge. Tell them to go back with that. That will not work. Another commentary reads, the SLP's approach isn't just bad for this election, it's setting a precedent for the future. We're teaching the next generation that politicians can neglect you and only act when it benefits them. A NewsSpinner says their callers saying Lucians don't even understand large numbers. They are ignoring the $2 billion giveaway and going to the $7 million that was borrowed to save them, whether you believe in COVID or not. Another commentary reads, when the UWP gets back in power, you can trust that your hard-earned money will go where it counts. They will focus on ensuring that taxes are fair and the people who need help the most get the support they deserve. Unlike the SLP's last-minute tax cuts, UWP's policies are focused on long-term economic stability for everyone. Someone says here, the only island in the Caribbean Christopher Columbus will recognize if he passes back here is St. Lucia. Same airport, same hospital, same market, and the same dumb. Okay. Another comment reads, exactly. Ernest Sile, why are you filing for immunity? Is it because you are guilty as charged? Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much, Amanda. And we have our NewsSpin question of the day. The NewsSpin question of the day reads, why is Philip J. Pierre a prime minister who listens? Why is Philip J. Pierre a prime minister who listens? And finally, the NewsSpin news of the day reads, the UN says that 14,000 babies can die in Gaza within 48 hours without aid. The UN says that 14,000 babies can die in Gaza within 48 hours without aid. That's the broadcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show. My name is Timothy Poleon. Goodbye.
Lazarus's funeral home is here for you. Lazarus's private cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all